Hi everyone, welcome to the Say Albans property meet. Looking forward, December. The event is going heavy today, and we got Don.
Nice to meet you.
Don, you love entrepreneurs, and Don's going to share some of his entrepreneur journey. Don, you're telling me about you're doing management for SAs and the rent-to-rents. Please tell the audience what that means and how you get involved in that fund.
Sure, so I started straight after university. I realized I needed to get some specialist training, so found the rent-to-rent service accommodation strategy. Started out with a one-bedroom property in Stevenage, rented that from the landlord and sublet it night by night, and made £1,200 profit month on month for the first year before tax, until the landlord said he's not making enough money. And I thought, okay, he's going to sell the property unless I pull something out the bag. So I thought, hang on, let's pivot here. Let's switch to the management strategy, which is basically I run the property in the same way. It's already up and running. Let's continue as we're going, except there's a different
Let me unpack
structure.
that, because you're giving huge value, and you're going to love the name Don, right? So Don, what he's doing is he's going to a landlord and saying, landlord, instead of renting it out to others, I'll manage that, I'll give you a fee. And then Don comes along and he does a monthly, nightly fee, and then he pays a monthly to the landlord, nightly to him. He makes a margin on top. That's what we call rent to rent. And because it's nightly, we call it service accommodation. Hope that made sense. And that's how Don gets ka-ching, gets some money out of that by doing the aggravation of the nightly fund. Is that a fair evaluation of what you do?
That would be the rent to rent. So
Yeah.
started with that, but pivoted to more value for landlords. I figured if I
How
get
have you added value? So tell me,
Well,
audience.
when I was doing rent to rent, I was giving the landlord a fixed market rent. So call it £1,000 rent, nice easy figures. So let's say I rent it for £100 a night, 30 nights a month, that's 3,000 in. I pay him 1,000, bills, cleaning, that's another 1,000 profit. Nice and easy maths. But what if the landlord wants to make more money? I can say to him, hang on, we're taking £3,000, I'll take a commission on that. So I'll take maybe 15%, call it £450, and now we're paying the bills and the cleaning. He's making an extra £550 a month, almost 1.5xing his monthly returns.
But how do you increase your value when you make more money? Do you have to increase the rightly rents, no?
On the property itself, I make less money per unit, but because I'm offering more value to the landlord, I can scale with more properties faster. It's a more enticing proposition than someone coming to them saying, I'll give you the market rent on a company let.
I hear from a lot of people doing rent to rent or service accommodation, rent to SA, labour intensive. You have to be on it. How do you manage it? How do you scale it? Tell the
I've got
audience.
a team around the country, so I have a virtual assistant who's full-time for me. He's very responsive and reactive.
Abroad or in the UK?
Abroad. He lives in Kenya.
Kenya.
So it's only 2 to 3 hours difference depending on the time of year. And I've got different cleaning teams in different areas, but I found that I'm struggling to completely rely on the cleaning team for everything in terms of housekeeping. So I found people who live locally to each property, and it's their job to keep the cleaners in check, to keep the property stocked up, well maintained, to report back on monthly inspections and stock checks, and really be the eyes and ears on the property, treating it like their baby. So with these people, I can manage the operation anywhere in the world.
Wow. So Donny's got effective systems. When you want to scale, it's all about the systems and the connections of people in your network.
Yeah.
So I guess the value, what you're doing right now is helping landlords provide this great offering for management, make the uplift, and a huge demand for that?
Absolutely. There's so many
All
pressures
across the
for
UK
landlords.
or just in England?
Across the UK, yeah.
Wow. Give a couple of areas where you've done some magic. You mentioned Peterborough. What's good for you?
Got one in Peterborough, that's a rent to rent. I offered the landlord a management deal structure where they get more returns overall throughout the year, but they didn't want the volatility, and that's fair enough. So I said, okay, I'll give you the rental income. So I raised the money, I bought the furniture, I ran it as my own venture.
Wow.
But then I'm operating properties from Bristol to North London, lots in Hertfordshire and Bedfordshire, up to the Midlands as well. So you've got Chesterfield, Leicester, Peterborough, and Enfield as well, Stansted, so quite a range,
You're going all over the place. So you're adding huge value. You gotta love it. We'll tag Don in. Anyone who wants to understand a bit more, Don would love to help add value to you. Just connect with him. Thank you so much, Don.
Thank you, Z. Pleasure.
Hi everyone, we've got our next guest entrepreneur today. Who's out to say Albans property meet. It's Jeroen.
Hello.
Jeroen, we've had Jeroen before. He runs his construction firm. I wanted to ask Jeroen some questions because I know entrepreneurs want to know from other entrepreneurs how the dreaded budget, I'm calling it, how it's going to affect you. Jeroen, we were talking off air, and I wanted to ask in front of the audience, how do you feel, for example, employer national insurance? You had mentioned, you made a really good point, how that could affect your growth potential. You mentioned about the levy, didn't you?
Employers' national insurance. So you've got for a construction site, you've got for a construction business, you've got two elements of it. So when you look at the employer part of the national insurance, the increase of it, it makes a lot of people resistant to growing their business, because when you look at it, the back office systems, your office assistant, your marketing people, for a lot of people, it's much better to quite simply to outsource it, give it to another person that works as a self-employed, because then you don't have to deal with that. But if you want to take it in-house, you now have a higher threshold to bring these people on board.
I think you made a really good point. It's about sustainability of business.
Yes.
And you're rightly saying you've got employee national insurance. First side is your employees when you want to build in-house and grow and scale, because everyone wants to do that at a certain level.
You want them to work to your values, to your
and you don't want to outsource, but that we've been forced to that. Yeah. And the second bit is, particularly to the construction, when you get to 3 million, there's a levy. Right, it's 0.5%, and you pay employers' national insurance. So what they've actually done is they've increased that. So that's going to stop firms scaling. Yes. It's a tax on growth.
What it is basically the moment you hit 3 million in turnover, irrespective of what your profitability is, you're looking at that 0.5%. So you have to basically pay that, and that basically, yes, which is a good thing. It helps people, in apprenticeships to basically develop their career. Could be young people, could be middle-aged people, whatever time it is. And yes, we do need good craftspeople in this country.
Yeah.
But it's great that it's being fueled by the industry, but it's one of those very little known things by a lot of people in construction. At the moment that you hit that 3%, and it's one of those that once you get past that threshold, you're basically stuck with it for as long as you stick over 3 million.
I think Jeroen makes a really, really valid point. It's not just the tax, it's all the paperwork compliance. Entrepreneurs are quite busy. We should not be handcuffing them with loads of different things, apart from what they have to do in their normal life. And I think that's the key point, isn't it?
We're doing a heck of a lot of work, not just for HMRC, but now for the education department as well. We're now not just being tax collectors, we're now being tax collectors on behalf of the Department of Education.
I guess good old racial themes, I'm allowed to say that, may not like that.
Well,
the next one is the IHT, inheritance tax on businesses. We never had that. Now we're introducing that apparently. I think it's April 26. What impacts do you think that's going to have? Because they're saying we don't even know how they're going to value businesses, but let's assume they do it reasonably. If it's over £1 million, what is that going to do?
It's gonna organise for an awful lot, and from my perspective, it's gonna cause an awful lot of businesses to look at, be it offshore, be it to basically, and yes, you're talking about very simplistic systems of basically having the operational company here in the UK, and it will still look as if it's a UK company. However, there'll be the typical, consultancy fee that actually goes off to a lower tax region, whether that is in Dubai, whether that is in Jersey, whatever is suitable, and you're the person to advise people on that. But when it comes to that, that should have been kept within the UK, because then it's like a true UK boost, and people don't have a problem with paying tax, but they just want to get something sensible back for it.
So on your point, there is some anti-avoidance rules on that. I think what people are going to do, less probably that, they're probably going to move the business abroad, because a lot of people are right now moving business to Dubai. So they say their headquarters are run from there, and they do some UK operations. So we're losing that. So they're getting 0 of 0. Whereas they were getting a pie, and this is just pure greed. And I don't believe the numbers the government are saying stack up. They are not going to get these returns, because people who can will leave. Because you can't have your loved ones and your legacy getting taxed on fictional numbers. I think that's the problem, because they're going to be fictional numbers.
It's one of those things that the government needs to realise, that it's better to have something of a little, or a little of something, rather than nothing of nothing.
Do you know what? Jeroen, entrepreneur, Talk Sense, runs a very successful construction business. Jeroen, thank you as always.
It's a pleasure.
Really
Always.
appreciate it. What great value. Thank you. Hi everyone, got Sharon, quite a well-known author of the book. Please tell everyone.
How to Get a Property Auction Bargain in an Hour on Amazon Kindle.
So you check that book out, a Sharon Kind, and she's giving us a story that gives you the other side, because you know people, landlords always get hated on. I saw this, you'll see the video. And that video shows you what landlords have to deal with. I can't believe it. He loves Budweiser, doesn't he?
He does, he loves the bud. He does. He's dedicated to the brand.
So he's obviously wrecked your place for 2 years. He lived there?
He lived there for 2 years. He got the flat when his girlfriend died and he wanted to take it over to mind him with his girlfriend. And then that's how I got repaid. He couldn't afford to pay me market value rent, so I said, okay, carry on paying me 525.
When the market value is 700?
700.
So you not only let him stay there, you kept his rent low. Apparently landlords don't do this. He's devastated the place, destroyed it. How long did it take you to actually get it back from him when you saw this?
Well, I went down there because he was smoking, and obviously he was drunk, and everyone was scared that he was going to burn down the block of flats. So I served him his notice for 2 months, and it took me 4.5 months for him to leave.
And he didn't pay no rent in those 4.5 months?
He did pay rent actually, because it come from Social Security.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you have to then pay to fix it all up.
Yeah.
And
He's
that-
literally just got up in the morning, walked away. My neighbours told me that they've not seen him for a week, and I've gone to the flat, and that's what I've seen. So he's not even told me he's gone. He's literally just left me with that devastation.
But according to our current government, you're not a working person, and also you're a greedy landlord.
Yeah, well, I've had to shovel shit and bottles of beer for no money. Had to
You did hear that correct.
Yeah. Got to drive down 200 miles, use £100 in diesel, stay in a grotty B&B, Airbnb down there to shovel bottles to earn nothing. So yeah.
Oh my God, Sharon, thank you so much for sharing that story. Landlords, we are feeling you. I think the other side is never shown. So if you're watching this, just remember, landlords are people, they do have this impact, and I don't really care if you think otherwise in the nicest possible way. Sharon, thank you for sharing this.
Thank you. I am a nice person.
Hi everyone, Estate Albans to a property meet isn't the same unless we speak to Alistair. Alistair, thank you so much. I always enjoy the conversations with yourself. He always gives you a lot of wisdom. Alistair, apart from the government going crazy,
Yeah.
Rachel Thieves and old Rodney,
It's not
they're
bad
losing-
after 4 months, is it? Quite an achievement.
apart from the devastation they're leaving behind, how do you feel about some of the big changes? Because we haven't spoken since the dreaded budget.
Yeah.
I'm calling it because I see so many people exiting in Dubai. By the way, we can help you on that. Right? How do you feel from an entrepreneur perspective, because you're a property entrepreneur, what do you think they are actually playing at, and what is it doing to the property world?
Well, one, I'm surprised they didn't go further, because as you know, they left. Well, I'm surprised they left the property CGT rates the same. I thought they'd. I still think their real intention is to move towards a harmonisation of CGT and income tax, and that's obviously would be the big killer, wouldn't it? Because that would push.
It's not the same-
That would push property CGT from 24 to 45, which would be a massive
it's-
game
it's-
changer,
it's-
and
but-
freeze the market, which we don't want to happen.
But also the stupidity.
Yeah.
Because they're different taxes.
Yes, I know.
One is done on profit. What about inflation? Where's indexation?
Well, quite. That's what I was
It's
coming
not
on to.
like for like.
No, exactly. I agree. So I mean, you can buy a property applying the rule of 72, even if it goes up by 3.6% a year. It's doubled in 20 years, and yet you're taxed on the entire game with no relief. Bring back the good old days of indexation, I say.
I love it. And this is the kind of stuff. So you've got the CGT. They have messed up trading business entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
They're all coming to see me right now. By the way, claiming their entrepreneurs relief before it goes up. They're trying to exit to Dubai and places, right? You can basically pay zero if you go out there and do it smartly. But anyway, inheritance tax.
Yeah. Well, again, I'm surprised they didn't go further. But
How
obviously
much
the-
further can it go?
Well,
Tell me.
well, they could have reduced the initial allowances and started
They've
attacking.
frozen them for 20 plus years.
No, I understand that, but I thought they might attack the individual property relief.
the 325 individual.
Oh, you mean the individual nil rate ban?
Yeah, I thought that might have got attacked.
But they've already attacked it. Do you know how?
Well, by not freezing it, by stealthing it.
They're stealthing, that's one.
Yeah.
The second one is bringing pensions in April
Well,
27.
I was coming on to the
one of the most dirtiest.
Yeah, the biggest killer for us is the dirty trick on pensions.
And then, do you know how much the underlying rate is getting to pensions now?
No, go on. You're the
From
number. You're
to
the numbersman.
90%.
Yeah.
For some people, because if you bring pensions in your house and you go over 2 million, what happens? Start losing the 175.
Well, exactly, yes.
The
Yeah,
residential
they start
rate.
tapering the original relief, exactly, yeah.
Because what happens is people don't realise you have a 325 each, and then you have a residential nil rate. If you've got a house, that's another 175. So husband, 500, wife 500. The killer is if you go over 2 million, every £2 you go over, £1 they reduce it. Now they're bringing pensions. Most people will be going over and having inheritance tax.
Yeah. But a million certainly.
nothing.
2
It's
million
frozen
slightly
it.
more unusual, but a million is not an unusual pension pot nowadays,
It's a
is
stealth
it?
tax.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a stealth tax, and we're now. But you can go to Dubai, and I'll put this on the record, and place like that, and potentially pay zero. It's like why? It's like if you earn £1 million or you're £1 million worth, which isn't that much, why are you in the country?
Well, I think there will be. There's already been a huge exit of capital, I understand, from the sites that I follow. That's likely to continue, isn't it? Because with modern digitalisation, I mean, you can run most businesses from anywhere.
Because you got in Dubai, for example, and I emphasise because we're going to open a practice out there.
Yeah.
I went out there recently. Income tax is zero. Capital gains tax zero. Inheritance tax zero.
Yeah, a bit of
Stamp
corporation
duty
tax,
equivalent,
but only for operating
4%.
there. Yeah.
Corporation tax 9% for the first 3 million dirhams, which is about 700,000, tax free.
Oh, well, there you go. So most people are exempt. So.
And then if you get it, then it goes to profit of 375 dirhams, which is 78,000, 9%.
I mean,
the property is tax deductible.
I mean,
depreciation is tax deductible in Dubai.
Oh, well, fantastic. Well,
Wow.
don't expect that to come back here for a while. I mean, the stealth taxes, the attack on the gradual diminution of personal allowances and capital gains allowances has been going on, as you say, for 20 years. So you can't really blame the current lot for that. But certainly the nasty bits on top don't help. But this is the disease now across the whole of Western Europe, isn't it? And we look at the state of France at the moment. Massive disillusion there with increase in taxes, huge increases in public spending, budget overruns, etc., etc. It's a similar story to here. Germany used to be the powerhouse of Europe, now more politically unstable than we are here.
I think one of the things Alistair always gave is good context on over the generations what's happened. He's very knowledgeable. I think one of the things that you said is
He's saying I'm
private.
old.
No, wise. Wise. People who get older are wiser because they should know more. And that's why I love speaking to people like Alistair, because he gives wisdom. You know, age often gives people wisdom. And I think one of the things that you can really insight about is how we don't invest, but yet we're taxing more.
Yes.
It doesn't work out.
No.
So that tells me there's corruption and inefficiency.
Yeah. Well,
It's the only answer.
I mean,
Good old Rodney, what do you think he's at?
Well, the corruption I won't comment on, I mean, that'll come out by itself. But lack of understanding of what actually promotes business and entrepreneurial growth and rewards. This is the difference between the 97 New Labour government that I was proud to be involved with. That they really understood the dynamics of business and knew, all right, there's a lot of criticism about some of the private deals in the health service, but look how they transformed the health service in 10 years. So they might have paid a bit too much for some of the private capital, but boy, did it bring results.
Yeah, I think that's the context.
Yeah.
I think now these current lot have no business experience.
No,
I don't even know if they're economists, and there's someone who got a degree in economics. That's true, that's real. I don't even know what they've got.
Well, Rachel Reeves says she works at the Bank of England, but we don't know. We'll find out whether that's true or not.
Good old Rachel Thieves, as we call her.
Yeah.
Alistair, thank you for your wisdom
Pleasure,
as
though.
always.
Pleasure,
That is
anytime.
knowledge for you. We love Alistair. I hope you enjoyed the content. Wow, what a say. Albans property meet for December, the Christmas special. Julie, thank you.
I'm exhausted.
I can imagine be giving all the awards out and everything. And we obviously love the summary. You know it's not finished unless you get a summary of Julie.
Absolutely.
Julie's telling us, obviously, she's been everywhere trying to help people on this renters' right bill. What's the three big ones that you're seeing right now for the renters' right bill that you're seeing people asking for help?
I think the scariest
biggest things for people at the moment, their real pain points, are the ending of fixed term tenancies, because there's no security there anymore.
Wow.
The abolishment of Section 21, because people are frightened of change and they don't know what the new landscape is going to look like with Section 8. And interestingly, the other pain point is pets. Tenants wanting pets, because obviously the new Renters' Rights Bill is much more pet friendly.
Wow.
So landlords are going to struggle to reject pets, and a lot of landlords are worried about that, obviously damage to their properties, peas and poos and all of those sort of things, you know. So I'm working with landlords and letting agents to find solutions around those, and hopefully making the new world a bit more future-proofed.
I think those are quite big problems, especially I think the third one. So, because if you're having pets inside and it's your property and you're renting it out, I think that's a bit unfair that you have to be forced to let people have pets, because who deals with all the mess and all the... Oh my days. So this is Julie. She will be able to help people in the consultancy around that. I think you need good advice, don't you?
Absolutely. You need good advice, but you also just need to understand what the legislation means. And the media aren't good at giving us that information. It's very scary what the media tell us. Just go to someone like myself who's going to be able to just explain it to you in plain English and help you understand how your business is going to look in the future. It's actually not as terrifying as it sounds. This is an actual chance for opportunity.
I've been watching some of the free resources that she put online, really useful. That gives you a little taster, because you get a bit of insight and then you know what problems are, then you can obviously get the solutions which she can help you on. That's what it's all about. And today on the event has been an amazing event. You give so many gifts out today.
We gave away £10,000 worth of prizes tonight.
10,000 smackers. Wow. What was the star prize again?
So the star prize was Richie Chapman's oh my goodness, a 2-day workshop that he's giving away, and that was £3,000 worth of prize.
Wow. I've noticed there's quite a lot of prizes.
Yeah.
And that's Julie and Craig, who's gone home already, done so much hard work to make sure she bring entrepreneurs here, especially from the property. This is Albans Property Meet. Julie, thank you for having us. Huge value as always.